All right, forget spies and satellites, forget James Bond. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the oldest and maybe one of the most misunderstood intelligence systems on the entire planet, the Holy See. I mean, think about it. How does a state with literally no army wield such immense global power? Well, we're about to find out. And we're going to be drawing from Edward H. Whitmore's incredible work in the Shadow Intelligence series, Vatican.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. To really get a handle on the Vatican, we have to start with this central paradox, this puzzle at the very heart of its power.
And here it is, the fundamental question, right? The Holy See, it commands no armies. It relies on zero coercion. So, how in the world has it managed to outlast actual empires and stay one of the most influential players on the world stage for centuries? The answer? Well, it lies in a completely different kind of power. One that operates, you could say, in the shadows of traditional geopolitics.
So first things first, let's just separate the Hollywood fiction from the strategic reality right now. The Vatican's power, it's not about some shadowy conspiracy or secret agents in trench coats. Now, instead, what we're looking at is really a marvel of human organization and incredible strategic patience. It's a system built on a totally unique form of influence, and that's what we're about to break down.
And here's the crucial point, really. The Vatican just completely redefines what we even mean by intelligence. See, for them, it's not about short-term tactical wins. Forget that. It's an exercise in subtlety and longevity. It's a patient game, focused on shaping events over decades, sometimes even longer, by leveraging its moral authority and its sheer presence on the ground.
So the big question is, how is this power actually built? Where does it come from? Well, it all starts with the first, and honestly, the most critical layer of the whole system. Its unparalleled global human network.
And you really have to think of this network like a living organism. Information is flowing constantly in two very distinct but interconnected directions. It creates this constant pulse, a real-time feel for global developments.
Okay, so first let's talk about the bottom-up flow. Just picture this for a second. Millions of clergy and lay people spread across hundreds of thousands of parishes, all deeply embedded in their local communities. Every single day, through their work, they're gaining this incredibly intimate knowledge of social dynamics, political feelings, cultural tensions, all that stuff. They are, in effect, the ultimate on-the-ground human sensors, and they're providing this constant stream of really nuanced information.
Now you take that incredible grassroots network, and you complement it with a vast, sophisticated diplomatic structure. We're talking a formal presence in over 180 countries. That is a truly global reach, right there. And this is where that top-down structure really comes into play. See, at the head of these diplomatic missions, you have the Apostolic Nuncios. Now, you have to think of them as way more than just ambassadors. They are, for all intents and purposes, high-level intelligence operatives who leverage this unique combination of religious authority and diplomatic immunity. And that dual status, it gives them access to information and circles of influence that are just, well, they're often completely closed off to your traditional diplomats.
Okay, so you've got this incredible amount of raw data flooding in, right? From the top down and the bottom up. So the next logical question is, how on earth is all of that processed and actually turned into a coherent global strategy?
Well, the information follows this really clear hierarchical path. You can almost think of it like a corporate intelligence pipeline. It all starts with that raw data from local priests and the nuncios out in the field. From there, it gets sent up, and it's filtered and synthesized within the Vatican's central administration, which is called the Roman Curia. And it's there that it's analyzed for context, it's cross-referenced with centuries of historical data, and then finally it's presented to the Pope, who is, of course, the ultimate decision-maker.
And that Roman Curia, it's really the operational heart of this entire system, especially its Secretariat of State. This is the central nervous system. It's the nerve center where all these different streams of information come together. They get validated, and they're ultimately transformed into actionable knowledge.
And it's not just about the bureaucracy, not by a long shot. As this quote points out, elite intellectual networks have always been a key part of the Vatican's intelligence apparatus. Take the Jesuits, for example. For centuries, they've acted as these knowledge brokers, their strategic advisors, their cultural translators, and their incredibly rigorous training in analysis and observation adds this deep contextual understanding to all that raw data. Okay, this brings us to some of the really unique tools that give the Vatican a long-term strategic advantage that, frankly, almost no other global power possesses.
See, the Vatican doesn't just store history, it actively wields it.
The famous Apostolic Archives, as the slide says, are not just some dusty collection of old documents. No way. They are an active repository of influence. Just think about that. By controlling and understanding this vast historical record, the Vatican can frame and shape modern narratives in a really powerful way. And all of this control over centuries of data creates an institutional memory that is just unparalleled. I mean, just look at this timeline. Whether we're talking about diplomats reporting on the rise of Protestant movements way back in the 16th century, or the big shift to soft power in the 19th, or clergy providing that critical grassroots intelligence from behind the Iron Curtain in the 20th century, the Vatican has always adapted. This ability to see the long-term patterns that so many governments with their short election cycles often miss, that is a massive strategic advantage.
And it's not just about knowledge, right? There's also the money. Financial networks, like the administration of the patrimony of the Apostolic See, act as a tool. They allow the Holy See to discreetly fund its missions and, by doing so, influence global events. It's just another quiet but incredibly powerful lever of global influence.
But don't think for a second that this is just some ancient system that's stuck in the past. Far from it. It has proven to be remarkably resilient, and it has continuously adapted to the challenges of the modern world.
I mean, the very nature of global threats has completely evolved, and so have the Vatican's methods for dealing with them. The challenges have shifted from, say, the ideological subversion of the Cold War to the cybersecurity threats of the digital age. Where the focus was once on navigating nuclear brinkmanship, today it's about managing online information and using encrypted communications. And just like it's always done, the Vatican has adapted.
So, after this whole deep dive, what's the really crucial thing to take away? What's the reality of the Vatican's influence?
Well, first and foremost, we absolutely have to throw out those Hollywood myths. The Vatican is not some shadowy cabal, and its power is not coercive. It simply doesn't work that way.
No, its true power, its culmination, really comes down to three things: presence, patience, and persuasion. Presence through that massive global network, patience with its focus on the long game, and persuasion, wielded through its moral and diplomatic authority. That's it. That's the sophisticated, centuries-old system that explains its enduring influence. And all of this leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. In today's world, an age absolutely defined by cyber warfare and hard power politics, could this ancient model of soft intelligence, this quiet, patient, deeply human approach, actually be more potent than ever? Is it possible that its greatest strength has been hiding in plain sight all along?
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Vatican's Strategic Intelligence Network, please give this video a like, subscribe to Strategic Labs, and share it with anyone interested in the hidden mechanics of global power.